just a recap here, we went ahead and sanded this down. We chased those cracks and filled in with fiberglass body filler, used the Bondo glass. So I think I've got this far enough along to where I'm ready to actually use some of the fiberglass matting and cloth with the fiberglass resin. So I already got started over here. Kind of wanted to figure out what I'm doing before I brought you guys along. Again, remember folks, I haven't done this before, so take what I'm doing here and what you're seeing here with a grain of salt, based on research, but again, I am a novice at this. So anyways, I did a layer of matting followed by a layer of cloth, another layer of matting, and I think I got this supported and built back up the way I want. Did each of the corners. Each side had some cracks on them, so got them all done. So we'll see if I got it close enough once we get the sander out and bring those down. But now that I kind of have a feel for what's happening, I want to start on these wing tips here. So got my tape lined up here, kind of drew an outline of where I think I'm going to need to build that back up, and then I'm also going to need to fix this gap. Let's get that side taped up. The idea on this side is going to be to use the fiberglass matting and just fill in these cracks, build that surface up, and then you start with a layer of cloth on this bottom part, layer of matte cloth. Just keep going until that's built up. I've got my rough outline here, so I'll probably cut an edge piece to match that, and it can be ground down later, so I'll build it out a little bit further. But then down in here, I've got to build this gap up all the way back to where I made my lines. So what we got here is fiberglass cloth, and then this is fiberglass matting. If you want to know the difference between these two products, go back to the previous video and watch the one titled SMC Fiberglass Repair, and you'll see the difference between these two products and also what the proper resin to use is on this type of material. So I got some rough pieces cut out here. Basically what I think I'm going to do is lay them down in the order that I want to place them, alternating materials, matting and cloth, and then ultimately, once I've got all my layers pre-positioned, all I'll need to do is flip them over like that, and they're ready to go. Because once you start this process, this stuff is really gummy and gooey, and you get fibers all over your hands, and it's kind of a mess. So I figure having everything pre-positioned is going to be really helpful in moving this right along. Before we start mixing up this filler, I just wanted to show you some of the stuff that you're going to need. You need a respirator. This stuff stinks really bad, so always try to protect your airway. Plus, dealing with that fiberglass, the dust and everything, really want to make sure you're taking care of yourself. You want to be able to enjoy your car long and late into life, so take care of yourself. And then gloves, because this is really messy and nasty. And then you got your SMC specific resin and a brush to dab it in with. I bought a pack of these stirring sticks, which is coming handy, and I'm using Solo cups to mix it in. Pretty cheap at places like Sam's Club. You can buy a big old box. And then this is just a measuring container. It's got ounces on there, which this SMC resin specifies that if you have 1 ounce of resin, you should put a ribbon about 1 inch to 1.5 inches on there. So I'm able to measure it out with that. So let's mix it up and start poking at some fiberglass here. Here's where we ended up. Took a bunch of layers, but it's rough. But I think I got it built up enough that I'll be able to take it down and smooth it up. So this is pretty solid. I'm not surprised, but definitely pleased. I wasn't real sure how this was going to turn out, and I'm still not sure how it's going to turn out, but my confidence is up, at least as far as the strength of the repair. I mean, it's in there, so doing pretty well with this. I think the next step, I just really want to see what this gap's going to be like. So I think I'm going to take my cutoff wheel and open up that gap, and then, oh, I might get brave and try to shape this a little bit and see what kind of work we've got ahead of us. So let's check this out. Well, cool. I was thinking that maybe I hadn't built it up enough, but buddy, she's fat. So even down in here, I thought maybe I didn't have enough build, but it's gonna flush up real nice. So that's good. Minimal body filler on top of there to smooth everything up, but got it nice and fat up through here, and wasn't real sure how the end was going to turn out, like the edge, but you can see how fat that is in there. So I got a little thin spot right here, but that's okay. But it's real thick right here. That's okay. That's the part that was missing. So we'll get the top looking good, and hopefully there's enough there. Should be enough there to be structurally sound for now. But yeah, I'll flip it over and fiberglass on the bottom just to make sure it's a nice repair, and then and we'll keep the thickness of this panel consistent all the way across. Once I get the top work down, I can build the bottom, smooth the bottom to make sure it's got the right consistency. So there we go. So I really have no idea how this stuff's gonna sand, but I think maybe what I'll do is start with my sander. We'll try to cut it and see how that works. But I do have my grinder that's got a 5-inch disc on it with, I think it's like 60 grit, but it gets pretty aggressive being on the grinder, so we'll see. Maybe I'll switch to that and knock the edges down and then go back to the sander. But I'm just going to dig in and kind of see how we go here. Just take it one step at a time.